A cheap ticket, a fancy seat, and a 12-hour flight to Seoul on a low-cost Korean airline that most people have probably never heard of. What could possibly go wrong? This is Air Premia Premium Economy. Is it worth it? Well, let me show you. Good morning, once again, from LAX Terminal B. Yeah, it's been a while. My name is Scott. I am the guy who writes all of those airline reviews you read over on SANspotter.com, and today, I'm flying a new-to-me airline. It's a Korean airline, and more specifically, it's a low-cost Korean airline. Yes, Air Premia 7879 to Seoul, and I'm going to do it in Premium Economy, or what they refer to as a premium wide seat. And that's a really good thing because this flight is scheduled to be 12 hours and 35 minutes, which is long, just like the delay for this flight is. This flight is delayed 4 hours. And I didn't know this until I arrived at LAX this morning, up from San Diego. I landed, turned on my phone, and boom, there it was. And there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. Oh well. To be honest, though, I've been flying long enough to know that these sorts of things happen when you choose a low-cost carrier, and you just kind of gotta expect it, I guess. Anyway, this flight was going to be departing out of gate 130, eventually. There's nobody here yet, of course, as we're still very early. But, yeah. Fast forward 3 hours and, well, here it is. Arriving from Seoul, this is a 7-year-old aircraft, and as you'll see shortly, I have every reason to believe that this aircraft actually started life with Norwegian Air. Not only because it features the full Norwegian interior, but also the fact that Air Premia is only 3 years old at this point, and we all know that Norwegian doesn't really have a need for these 787s anymore, so it's a logical-ish hypothesis, I guess. I'm sticking to it. Something that wasn't quite making sense to me as we approached the boarding time was how empty the gate area was. I mean, look at this. There's hardly anybody here. I guess I was just expecting more people to be excited about the low-cost flying to Korea thing. Especially considering what Korean Air is charging these days. Have you priced tickets between Los Angeles and Seoul recently? It's crazy. They eventually got the boarding process started at 2:30 p.m., which is exactly 4 hours after the scheduled departure time. Better late than never, I guess. Premium-wide passengers got to go first, which, I don't know, that sounds condescending as heck, but you know what I mean. And, as expected, due to how few people I saw in the gate area, I was one of the first people on the airplane. That's pretty cool. Not a bad way to kick things off. Welcome to Norwegian Air Premium Economy / Norse Atlantic Premium Class / Air Premia Premium Wide. Yeah, this looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? But even though it's a direct carryover from Norwegian and Norse, it's still a very, very good long-haul premium economy cabin. These seats are amazing. Well, maybe not amazing, but very wide, tons of legroom, and as you'll see later in the video, they recline very steep. This is a 2-3-2 configuration, by the way, which is considered to be fairly spacious for long-haul premium economy these days. I just flew United from Tokyo to San Francisco, and that was 2-4-2, and you know what? This is pretty good. Also, I need to point out that Air Premia actually has an all-new premium economy cabin coming. I've seen pictures and video clips of it. It looks nice. Can't wait to try it, but today, this is the old configuration. The Norwegian configuration, but yeah, so far this is exactly what I expect in premium economy. You saw the blanket and the pillow, pre-departure drink, got some noise-canceling headphones here, and even slippers. Not all that great quality, but they are slippers. I'll take them. And check this out, an amenity kit. Look at that thing. Seriously, This thing is much better than many amenity kits that I've gotten in business class before. I was not expecting this, but I'll take it, and yeah, I don't even think I'm all that upset about the delay anymore. This is nice. I'm sitting in seat 4F, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. And yes, I know, I could have switched to a window seat. There were many open, but as I've learned from years of experience doing westbound trans-Pacific flights, there's not really all that much to see, and also, sitting by the window is usually colder than it is sitting in the aisle, or closer to the aisle, so I'm perfectly good with the aisle seat this time, especially since I have a row all to myself. At least the center section. 3 seats, all mine. It's nice. And for those of you who are curious, the taxi over to runway 24 left took about 19 minutes, and we were in the air and on our way at about 3:13 p.m. Kind of not even close to our originally scheduled 10:30 a.m. departure time. Oh well. And you know what? There's really not all that much to complain about when you've got an entire row of seats all to yourself. I'm digging this. A lot. We got a bit of good news just after takeoff. The captain, in his welcome message, announced a flying time of just 11 hours and 30 minutes, which is an hour shorter than the 12 hours and 30 minutes they had originally said. But then, I thought about it. You know, sitting in this seat and having all this extra room all to myself, actually, you know, I think I would prefer a longer flight. I don't know. Maybe we'll get lucky and have to divert around a typhoon or something on the way there. Anyway, whoops. Let's talk about the in-flight entertainment for a moment. As you just saw there, yes, noise-canceling headphones are provided, but when it comes to the actual in-flight entertainment itself, it's all Korean content. There's no Western options, it's all Korean, with English subtitles, of course, and you're gonna like it. At least I did. Overall, it was kind of disappointing at first until I realized that, you know what? I actually like Korean movies and TV shows, and it took me until this very moment, until I was forced into it, that I realized it. We have now reached the portion of this review that surprised me the most. The food. Seriously. The amount of food that they served, not only for this meal, but for the pre-landing meal as well, it was really surprising. I was not expecting this at all. There were 2 options. There was a vegetarian Western option, and this. This is the Korean option, bibimbap. Yes, my favorite. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't think I would even recognize this as bibimbap if they didn't tell me what this was. But it was good. And of course, you know me, I did not go with the hot pepper paste. The sesame oil was all that was needed to spice this up and make it extra delicious. And I don't know, but I think bibimbap actually tastes better when there's nobody sitting next to you. There were still 10 hours to go after the first meal service, and in these seats, I was not concerned by this. There's actually a really nice footrest that pops out there, as you can see. Sort of. I'm actually a little bit too tall for this, I think. It didn't quite work for me, I guess. It was comfortable enough. I just wish it would have extended further, that's all. The blankets, though. I have absolutely no complaints about the blankets, nothing to criticize. These things are awesome. Super thick, very cushy, and I don't know, they did a really good job of keeping me warm for the entire flight. Oh, seat recline is incredible, by the way. As long as you're the person doing the reclining, it's really steep, it'll be really easy to fall asleep, but it's all fun and games until the person in front of you reclines into your lap. It's uncomfortable and inconvenient, especially for sitting in a window seat. In that case, good luck getting out. I'm actually embarrassed to admit that I didn't really sleep all that well on this flight, but don't worry, it was not the fault of the seats. It's just what I do on airplanes. I just can't sleep, usually. And on this flight, that was okay, because the flight attendants were coming down the aisles every 10 minutes or so with water, and at one point, they came down with cookies. That cookie was awesome, by the way. And, you know, now that I'm doing this voiceover and I'm thinking about it, maybe, and I'm just saying, the fact that I just had a very large Coke Zero, which has a ton of caffeine, and then that sugary cookie, well, that could be the source of my sleeping problem. I don't know. Just an idea. Another advantage of staying awake so long is that it really gave me a lot of time to think about how much this compared to my recent Korean Air business class experience. The seat was a lot better, of course, don't get me wrong, but everything else, including the lavatory here, is surprisingly similar. I'm thinking that maybe this Air Premia premium economy thing is going to catch on. Eventually. Just as luck would have it, I fell asleep exactly 45 minutes before they turned the cabin lights on for the pre-landing meal service. So I did get some sleep, so that's good. But yeah, they turned the cabin lights on just about 2 hours prior to landing, and once again, it was a huge meal. I was not expecting this, especially if you compare it to my recent Norse Atlantic premium economy experience, where the pre-landing meal was just basically a snack. And this was not that. This was a full meal. I went with the Western option. This is mushroom meatballs, or meatballs with mushrooms, or something like that. All I know is that it was really good and extremely filling. And the cherry on top is that this is actually going to be my dinner for the day. Our delay meant that our landing in Korea was going to be just after dinner time, so yeah, I wasn't going to have to pay for dinner that evening, which is a good thing. Speaking of good things, yeah, Air Premia, premium wide, premium economy, surprised me. Especially considering that this is the old cabin. These are the old seats that are going to be replaced very soon by something more modern, much better looking, and I don't know, you know, you compare this to Korean Air, even Korean Air business class, it's awfully close. And for a fraction of the price. The total price of my ticket, with everything included, taxes and fees, $713.29. That's not bad at all for long-haul premium economy, especially when it's this good. And just for comparison's sake, about a week later, maybe 5 days later, I flew from Tokyo back to San Francisco in United 777-300ER premium economy, and I'll tell you what, Air Premia, much better. Actually, I'm going to have a video about that United flight coming up next, so you can make the direct comparison. But I think you're going to agree with me. Air Premia, premium wide, premium economy, whatever you want to call it, much better. Except for the part about the in-flight entertainment, maybe. United was slightly better in that regard. Anyway, thanks for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, do drop them down in the comment section below. I will get to them when I can. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.